Welcome back to CBS Sports HQ, and we are about 2 weeks from the end of the regular college football season. There's still so much left to figure out in the world of college football, including who is going to win the Heisman. Getting a look at the 2022 Heisman winner odds from our partners over at Caesars Sportsbook. CJ Stroud, he has the shortest odds at plus 150. Hendon Hooker is next at plus 375. Then we have Blake Corum and Drake Maye at plus 600. And then rounding out the list there, Jaden Daniels from LSU. And let's welcome in our senior college football writer, welcome him back, I should say, Dennis Dodd, to break it all down. Dennis, I want to start off with the two main guys in the conversation. We have Hendon Hooker, CJ Stroud. Starting off with Tennessee's Hendon Hooker, 4 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing one in their big win over Missouri. And then you got CJ Stroud throwing for 5 TDs for the 9th time. I mean, that's just a crazy stat. I feel like Hendon Hooker, it's kind of been back and forth when we talk about it, and CJ Stroud has been more of a constant in the Heisman Trophy conversation. So for you, I mean, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but which one is like number one for you and number two, despite the odds, if you just had to kind of rank them?
Well, before that, let me make clear they both had an off game. Ohio State, what was it, 12 days ago at Northwestern, in the wind, in the rain. I'll give that to them. Ohio State won the game. I don't care about the weather. You know, without C.J. Stroud, maybe they don't win that game. I think it was held to a season low 78 yards passing. Obviously, Hendon Hooker against Georgia, 195 yards passing. It's the Georgia defense. But you're right. Other than that, they've been fantastic. Hendon Hooker is number 1 rated in pass efficiency in the country, where he's been around there for most of the season. And if people don't get that, it's why quarterbacks are good. They don't throw interceptions. They throw for a lot of yards. They complete passes very frequently, and they throw a lot of touchdown passes. That's what Hendon Hooker's done. I think if using the Heisman math, Jacqueline, I think C.J. Stroud is going to be the guy. And this is not necessarily my opinion. C.J. Stroud will play on that last Saturday. The ballots are due on December 5th, that Monday. Hendon Hooker, we know, won't. He won't be playing on Saturday. So out of sight, out of mind. And if Ohio State wins, then I think it's a slam dunk that probably C.J. Stroud wins that award after finishing 3rd in the balloting last year. But if not, I think the voters, if they hold on to their ballots till that Saturday, will start to look around for alternatives, and it could be Hendon Hooker by then.
Now talking about the third guy, he has the third odds, or highest odds, I should say, at plus 550, Blake Corum. 7th straight game of 100-plus yards against Nebraska. Now, the last running back to win was Derrick Henry back in 2015. Now, if Michigan continues to win out, do you think that Corum could be the next one to do it?
I do, and I think I just revealed the math, how he could get there. If Michigan beats Ohio State, it's going to be because of Blake Corum. We know how to beat Michigan. You slow down Blake Corum. So far, nobody has this season. He's number 3 in the country in rushing, as you mentioned, at only 5'8", 210. That story's yet to be told, how he's generating that much power and speed. He's not sharing the ball with Hassan Haskins as he was last year. And how about this stat? Last week, he only played 39 snaps, but on those 39 offensive snaps, he carried 28 times for 162 yards. So he doesn't even have to be in there very often to explode. And this is a guy that runs with power up the middle at 5'8", 210, but can also turn the corner. So again, his path is clear. Beat Ohio State. I think everybody's going to look for an alternative to C.J. Stroud, and Blake Corum might be the guy.
I want to talk about Drake Maye next. I feel like for a good chunk of the season was kind of a long shot in regards to the Heisman conversation, but just continues to climb, Dennis. Now we just saw the odds at plus 600. The Heels are 6-0 on the road for the first time in school history. Do you think Drake Maye at this point is being overlooked at all?
I think overlooked a little. It's hard for his story to get out because it's North Carolina football. You know, you think of Drake Maye, you think of, Sean Maye. He was an All-American who won a national championship in basketball. No, different guy altogether. Drake Maye is tied with C.J. Stroud with number of touchdown passes, 34 in the country. They have one loss, obviously, North Carolina, and are in the ACC championship game. 6 games decided by opponents of UNC this year by a total of 20 points. And that has to do with the gunslinger, Drake Maye. He's got those 34 touchdowns, as I mentioned, 4 interceptions. And he's the best quarterback you've never heard of. Now, again, not never heard of him, but again, if North Carolina beats Clemson in that championship game, it's going to be because of Drake Maye, just like Blake Corum beating Ohio State. That's going to be the reason. So if he pulls that off and pulls North Carolina with shouting distance of a playoff spot at that point, then you got to talk about him. But yes, he is a long shot.
All right, and speaking of long shots, Dennis, do you have another one that you want to talk about? Another long shot who has the best chance to make a run at the Heisman?
I can't believe this, but this guy is such a long shot, he doesn't even have odds. But he should. Washington quarterback Michael Penix Jr. is one of the best quarterbacks in the country. In fact, he leads the country in passing yards. How about that? Is that good enough for you? You know, think of the names that have done that and won Heisman and got to New York. This guy's not even an afterthought. But the transfer from Indiana, who had that great season in 2020 during the COVID year under Tom Allen at Indiana, transferred to Washington when Kalen DeBoer got the job. Kalen DeBoer was his old offensive coordinator in Indiana, and he has absolutely flourished. Saturday against Oregon, 408 yards passing in a win. That's the most passing yards in the history of that series. Very bitter series between Washington and Oregon, including the game-tying pass late to Taj Davis. This guy's got it all. I mean, it may be a case of being way out there on the West Coast, but he deserves to get a ticket to New York if he can.
All right, that is our senior college football writer, Dennis Dodd, breaking down the very latest in the Heisman Trophy race. Thanks so much, Dennis, for joining us here on CBS Sports HQ. And getting another look at the 2022 Heisman winner odds from our partners over at Caesar Sportsbook. Again, CJ Stroud with the shortest odds there at plus 150, followed by Hendon Hooker at plus 375, Blake Corum at plus 550, and UNC's Drake Maye at plus 600.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.